Diane is one of the best people. She's not just a good worker, she's a good person.
She made the sweetest toys for our grandparents.
I know.
She loves it, little arts and crafts she did never for our grandson.
Yeah.
Just so sweet.
Yeah, she's a doll. We kind of grown up in the kids, and our kids a little Kayla and, yeah. I can't make it sound like that. Uh-oh.
I thought it was a Shelby Banking.
Hi, Brenda. It was.
Do you have to have everything set up before Thursday?
Yeah, well, I just set the sheets up. We're gonna move this tonight over there.
Oh, it's gonna be on the side?
She wants to try it on the side, so Michael says she thought Barbara's to try the table on that side. We kind of go around.
Is there outlets over there? Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's not really
Yeah, there is.
There's one in the corner out back there, so you
Yeah.
should be good.
And there's one over here.
Yeah, but if you start, you're gonna want to start in that corner.
Cause I said, well, you were here, and I said, when you come in, I just automatically turn to the right when I go into a room or a building, or I look to the, the right, but I said, we can try it, that's fine, we'll see. We'll still do the voting booths here, and then have the wrap up kind of over there. We'll see how it works. I think Barb's tired of the same old thing.
Did
Did you make the special meeting minutes?
Don't forget that.
Glad you missed an appointment.
Yeah, election stuff, we have to.
Just stay up all night.
Which one, the Fremont or?
Maybe I get over the last. I must be the first one. I don't get to look at them, I might have been.
Yeah, I bet you did.
My eye.
I bet you did. Well, some to try to looks clear, because that does two street lights.
All right.
Yeah. Things only, what, 2.5 years old?
You got a lot more.
Yeah, some of those.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. John Clark.
Here.
Rick Robertson.
Here.
Amanda Hunter. Here. Joan David. Here. Nancy Conley. Everyone's here.
Need a motion to approve the agenda?
Make a motion to approve the agenda as submitted.
A motion by Hunter, supported by Robertson, to approve the agenda as presented. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried 5-0. Approval of, I need a motion to approve the January 16th regular board meeting minutes.
Make a motion to support I'll make a motion to approve the January 16th, 2024 meeting minutes.
Or
Motion by Hunter, supported by Clark to approve the January 16th regular board meeting minutes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried 5-0. I need a motion to approve the February 6th special meeting minutes.
I'd like to make a motion to approve them with some adjustments. The first adjustment is just to remove the 2-hour training session under new business, where it says John Clark made a motion by Joan David to approve $300 for Amanda Hunter to present a 2-hour training session. I did not limit that at the meeting, so I'd like that removed. And the agreements, I'd like to make them slightly more clear that they were just agreed upon at this meeting, but this was not the actual motion to approve them. Those are the only 2 changes I've got with that.
so how long did your training, you didn't get through it all, or?
No, I didn't. I said that I'd go as long as was required to get through all of the questions, which I didn't get through all my training, so I kind of had to speed it up at the end.
Well, they had originally been 1 to 4, and that's what I told them. We switched it to 2. Most people had to leave between 4 and 4:30.
And that's fine, it says that, you know, we
started,
had,
what, at 2?
it said that the motion was made for a 2-hour training session, and we didn't limit it. So that's the only reason I wanted to.
So then in that same line, we need to change 2 to 4 p.m. to 2 to until finished.
I mean, or I could just say on February 16th, beginning at 2.
Yes.
And honestly, it does say down under where the board agreed to include in the new budget. So we would, have to vote on that when we vote on the new budget next month. But it just sounds like we made motions for those.
No, that was just in there, after
Okay.
we discussed it.
So what you're saying
So I wonder if we should say the board discussed instead of agreed to on those, just change the agreed to discussed.
Discussed, including in the new budget.
Yeah, to include in the new budget, yep. Board discussed to include in the new budget those things. Yeah, there's actually 4 things that we discussed and kind of agreed to, but didn't make a physical motion
You
for.
mean the one on Dennis's too, on the?
Yep.
Well, all of them, we
Yeah.
can't.
All of them. we
We're
talked about.
just,
Kind of
we're
free,
approving, we're
yeah.
That was
approving
the
what,
workshop.
we're approving what we talked about, but
Right,
these aren't being approved until we do our.
Correct,
right.
yeah. So,
All the agreed should be discussed.
Right.
yeah,
Right,
and that's the only changes, just the agreed to discussed, removing the 2-hour and removing the to 4 p.m. But I'll make a motion to approve that with those 3 changes.
I'll support the motion.
Okay, motion by Hunter, supported by Robertson to approve the February 6th special meeting minutes with the changes that were just mentioned. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried 5-0. Any public comments on action items? State your name, please.
Yep, Jim Draper. So I do see on here, you've got a few new ordinances that's gonna be discussed today. And I also know you guys are in the middle of doing a new master plan. Do these new ordinances fall in line with the new master plan? Is the master plan done yet? Because this seems out of order. The idea of the new master plan was to then revise the ordinances. The impression that I was under.
Any other public comments on action items? Next, approval of the bills. Does anybody have any questions?
Checks that were voided at the top were because with my new printer, everything was double-sided. So I double-sided 9 checks before I got it. So that's what the voided checks were.
And then the Ingham County Treasurer, so the $29,000 was the first set of radios for the sheriff's department. They purchased them from Ingham County, so, that's the reimbursement for that.
Right. The rest will be coming from, what did he say in your email? The rest will be coming from Motorola?
Yes.
Yes, so.
Okay, no other questions?
Motion to pay the bills as submitted.
No support.
Motion by Robertson, supported by Hunter to pay the bills as presented for $49,629.53. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried 5-0. Correspondence. Anybody have any?
Report.
Oh, sorry, treasurer's.
Unless you don't want it this month.
I wanna know what we got.
So total cash available, we have $646,644.36. Our general money market end balance, so our choice one money market, or not choice one, Shelby State money market, we have $236,353.96 with $15,977.71 out of that account to pay bills for last month. And we had deposits in to that account of $31,188.70. On the choice one account, we made $355.52 in interest. And then our ICS account, we made $883.17 interest last month.
That's on the cannabis deposits.
Yes, yep, so that was on the cannabis monies, the choice one and the ICS are both cannabis funds. The rebates and reimbursements, we got money back from, was it the IRS or was it the state? I think it was the IRS that we had overpaid into them. So we finally got that money back. We had property tax disbursements into the account of $27,954.12. Obviously our general fund, choice one accounts and ICS accounts are all on there, included in the total cash available. So you guys can look at that. Our treasury accounts ended the month with $223,118.41. Obviously that's still fluctuating, due to the disbursements, and, taxes will be turned over to the county as delinquent on March 1st. And then we'll go to settlement. Any questions on that?
No. But I have a question for you. You said that March 1st, the delinquent ones go to the county. When on our system on the computer online, when does it change on there? Because it shows that other people that paid on the last day, it still says pay now.
It shouldn't anymore. I had that all updated as of yesterday. Everybody's was updated as of yesterday.
Because I had somebody ask me today, and then I looked it up like 2 hours ago, and it still showed pink on there saying pay now.
We'll have to look afterwards if you know who it was and see, maybe they just didn't pay their taxes. I don't know, but.
Well, I know they did because I was here when they brought it in, so.
Okay. Yeah, everything that I had was entered in and everything should have been submitted to the online site.
Okay.
So I'm not sure what's going on with that.
If you have a few minutes after.
Yeah.
So is any other correspondence? Anything? You have any correspondence?
Yeah, I do. We did, again, receive from the Hazardous Household Waste Disposal Program through the Mason Lake Conservation District. They send every year. They do a great job in their collections for disposal of household hazardous waste for residents of Newfield Township and Mason County. They would like a contract between Mason, Manistee, and Oceana Conservation Districts for collection. They always have a selection of what they would like, how much they'd like to receive, and it's a great program. But we don't have that many people that participate from Newfield Township. And so, the last time we had 12 cars with, 16 households. And we sent, $100 last year. They are requesting $685.60, but for 11 households, 16 households and 12 cars, that's a lot of money. I suggest that we go with $100 again. Because we don't have that many, it's a wonderful program, but we don't have that many people that go up and use the program, like some of the other areas do. So, but that is the correspondence from them.
And when do they need an answer on that?
They'll take it whenever, they're really good. It is actually scheduled, the Queen Sweep Collections event is scheduled for Saturday, August 17th up there. So there'll be more coming out, and watch your papers. I'm sure Paul will have something in the Oceana Echo. And that's the date they have picked, August 17th. So we can approve something next month, but that's my suggestion.
Does anybody else have comments on that?
I mean, it's a good program, but we just don't have that many people from our district use it.
What was it last year for?
Yeah, for last year. So we had more people this year, but 11 cars, 16 households, but.
What do you mean by 11 cars?
They just pull through and drop off, open up their trunk,
I thought
whatever.
maybe there was 11 cars that they.
No, 11 cars went through the process of, it's like a collection site. Yeah, and there's more information here if anybody wants it, and they always send us more.
We can do it
They usually
next
put a sign out for us out here, so.
I have correspondence just from Shelby State Bank. They have some technology upgrades coming. They start March 21st of this year. So if anybody's interested, I've got the, little brochure here for it. Tracy at the bank told me that, they're kind of going to a paperless setup, I think, where they're no longer requiring deposit slips and stuff. So she told me I no longer had to use those. So, that'll save a decent amount of time just because filling those out was cumbersome. But yeah, so they're going to a new system on March 21st.
Another thing I requested, from the American Classic for our new recycle center, when we set it up, the Village of Hesperia being one of a group that uses it, Village of Hesperia, Newfield, Denver, and Greenwood. And the Village of Hesperia gave us $1,800 initially to get going on our tips of our dumpsters. And October 13th, they gave the $1,800 to the American Classic. And as of right now, we have used $1,383 of that money, Mike. We have 417 left of that initial 1,800 before we get taxed. So probably another couple months. It might pick up once I think once the people from that come up to the cottages are lake people. I think they will start using it more this summer. We didn't kick it in until the end of the summer, early fall. So they're all used to recycling in the city. So I'm sure it will go up, and I'll send something out again to Greenwood and to Denver. I already talked to Denver supervisor, letting them know about where we were at. So we appreciate it, and that's where we stand on what the village donated towards the recycle tipping.
Thank you. Any other correspondence? Okay. Before we go on to our old and new business, I'd like to introduce Attorney Eric Fox. He would like to have a couple of words.
Yeah, I'll keep it very brief. It sounds like you have a lot to address today, so I'm glad to see a large crowd here to address it though. As you introduced me, my name's Eric Fox. I'm an attorney. My office is in Hart. And I recognize some people who I've worked with here, and some of you may recall that I ran for probate court judge almost exactly 18 years ago. And I can tell you now that I'm much more qualified now than I was then. I have been practicing law in Oceana County since 2000, and before that I was in Muskegon County, so it's almost 30 years now of practicing law in this area. I've been a resident of Oceana County my entire life, except for college. If you recognize my name, it's probably because of the farming family that I'm from, and I'm proud to be from that tradition. I have a wealth of experience that's particular to the probate court, but not just the probate court. And I hope that if you have any questions for me, about my qualifications, about the probate court, about the law at all, you won't hesitate to reach out to me, and I look forward to asking for your vote again later on this year. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, old business. We have on here our blight junk and vehicle ordinance.
And I know I emailed that to everyone,
Yes.
but I also have printed up copies. So this is the blight and junk vehicle. And then here's the civil infraction. Containers. Yeah. These are too thick, they busted my paperclips.
So as far as our blight, junk and vehicle ordinance, we had a workshop and we went through all this, and the majority of it was typing errors and whatnot. We wanted to clean it up and make it look nice and neat. Our master plan is not done, and it probably won't be done for
And this has nothing to do with the master plan.
No.
The master plan deals with land use and zoning and that, and this is outside of that. This is basically what's called a police power as opposed to a regulatory or zoning power. So that's why it's, number one, doesn't require a public hearing, and number two, it isn't related to the master plan. I mean, I guess you could say tangentially, because I imagine the master plan will say, we don't want the township to be junky, but it's not gonna have restrictive things related to this, as it will related to the zoning ordinance. So that's kind of the difference there. We have had this reviewed now 3 times by attorneys. And this last review was, which I forwarded to everyone, was just, like I said, some spelling and grammatical errors that were cleaned up. That's been done, and they're ready to go.
Okay.
I think we're ready to go on this.
Did you have a meeting with the lawyer? I know you were gonna try and call them and do a phone conversation with them about all of these.
With who?
With the lawyer about these ordinances. Did you happen to do that?
I talked to them quite a while ago, and
Okay.
they said everything was fine.
Do you want these adopted as a resolution?
I think they have to be, everything like that has to be done by resolution.
So I'll make a motion that we approve making the blight, junk, vehicle and public safety ordinance into a resolution.
Resolution 22024.
I'll support.
Okay, motion by David, supported by Robertson to approve the light junk vehicle and public safety ordinance. Roll call
Oh,
vote.
sorry, what was the resolution number again?
22024.
22024.
John Clark?
I'm gonna say no, because I want time to read this over.
Well, that's what we sent, when we did it, that's what we sent to John to be reviewed. And it looked to me to be the same that came back. But it's up to you.
I'm gonna say no.
Amanda Hunter?
You can't get it within a half hour, but I didn't read all this.
Did you get it in your email?
Yeah, I got what Steve sent, but then he was gonna correct some stuff
John, the corrections are the stuff that was listed
on this side.
on the side.
Yes.
So it's no changes other than
Other,
exactly what Grant wrote in there. His comments. It's not that we've changed anything
no,
past that, and even, I think you got my email, my reply to him on that as well. So there's no,
there's no major change.
yeah, it's basically capitalization and stuff.
You still stay.
I'm gonna say no.
Amanda Hunter?
I'm also gonna say no. After I looked into it a little bit more, there were just some things that go against what I stand for the township, so I'm just gonna say no for that reason.
Rick Robertson?
Yes.
Nancy Conley, yes. Joan David?
Yes.
Motion carried.
This was, just to reiterate, this is all stuff that we sat for hours
The other day.
working on as a group with all of this stuff, so. Civil infraction ordinance.
If I remember correctly, we were here for 4
We're
hours.
all over 4.5 hours.
I make a motion that we approve the civil infraction ordinance into a resolution.
Resolution number 32024.
Support.
Motion by Davis, supported by Robertson to approve civil infraction ordinance as resolution 32024. Roll call vote.
John Clark?
No.
Rick Robertson?
Yes.
Amanda Hunter?
No.
Nancy Conley, yes. Joan David?
Yes.
Motion carried.
And I'd just like to make it known, I wanted these correct, so that's why I wanted these, correct, and they are all legal. They're all absolutely legal in the way they are formed, but just because, I helped with the workshop on them does not mean that I agree with every single thing in them, and that's why I
Well,
voted.
there was actually more changes in this, civil infraction ordinance than the other one. And you did say that, Steve, that
But we
There
knew
was
all
no-
those changes
There
when we
was
did the
no
workshop.
changes from what we agreed to
At the workshop.
at the workshop. The only thing, and John, I have the email,
but I thought what you wrote, was it today or yesterday, what day it was, it? Grant, I think the lawyer,
yep, Grant is the attorney.
that he, made some changes on this,
He had suggested some changes.
and you was gonna
And
redo it.
basically, the only actual change, which I didn't make, was, there were two. One was where it says reasonable cause. And he said, do we mean probable cause? And I said, no, because it was reasonable cause, that's what we agreed to. So I'm not gonna change the wording on that.
Right.
And the idea was, and behind that, the reason behind that is this. Probable cause is a criminal term. right? You would get probable cause for a policeman to search your vehicle. I think we have an attorney present. Or probable cause to get a search warrant, right? Okay. But and when we had these offenses as a misdemeanor, they were criminal, it was a criminal case. In other words, John, if you were convicted of a violation of the ordinance as a misdemeanor, that's a criminal record that you have.
Right.
We changed to a civil infraction so that it's not a criminal matter. It's a civil matter. It doesn't go on anyone's criminal record, won't show up in a background check, anything like that. So in that perspective, reasonable supersedes probable. And that's why I did not want to make that change, because it's reasonable. It's the same thing for standard of evidence. If it's a criminal case, the standard of evidence is beyond a reasonable doubt. Under a civil infraction, it's a reasonable doubt. So it's a lower standard. That's the whole thing. That was one. The other thing was where it said he, she, the alleged perpetrator may, he, she, blah, blah, blah. And he wanted to change that to also alleged perpetrator would alleged perpetrator. And I said, I did not change that. I left it where it was.
I think you did change that one. It says the alleged violator. You changed that one, I believe, from what I looked at this afternoon. The other thing that he suggested to change that was not updated was where it says Oceana County Sheriff Department.
Right.
It should say Sheriff's Department.
Kevin, that did not change.
Yeah, and
Because it's the Oceana County Sheriff Department.
Okay, so now on to new business. First thing is taxes and penalties.
Yeah, so, I talked to MTA, because we had quite a few people who submitted taxes this year, where say their total was $1,586, for instance, and instead of writing 1,586, they wrote 1,086. And due to not having information to contact them, due to, having to mail them something, just the delay in mail to get that notice to them and then to get it back to them would go beyond that February 14th date. So I called to MTA to see if it was possible to waive that fee for those people, and they said that yes, I can, and that, I can kind of do what I think to be right in that way, which is why, if people drop stuff in the box on February 14th, I can backdate it and deny, or, not charge them the penalty and whatnot. And even though our tax bills say does not accept, postmark date, I still try to accept postmark date for the benefit of the taxpayer. So when I was looking at this, I believe we only make roughly around $800-ish a year off of this penalty. And I know that a lot of people have come in this year and they're mad that their taxes are going up in the first place. A lot of people have called me and says, I'm not going to be able to pay by the 14th because I don't get my Social Security check until the end of the month. So what's my penalty going to be? And my heart just goes out to these people. MTA said that it is within our power. We do not have to charge that penalty fee. We can write a resolution and take the penalty fee off. So the whole way that we had to enact the penalty was via resolution. Whatever they put it into effect, I'm guessing, I believe 82 is when it started, you could put it into effect. But I am asking the board to consider removing the penalty between February 15th and February 29th.
how
so
many,
that there
how
would be
many
no-
other townships in Oceana County?
I do not know, I have not questioned. I do know that there's at least one township in Newfield County because they responded to my MTA connection post that I put on there. One of them said that they no longer charge late fees.
Well, before we can even make a decision on that, we have to check to see if we already have a resolution.
Well, we better, because if we don't have a resolution, then we're collecting the fee illegally.
I'm sure.
So I'm
Well-
sure we do. I'm sure it's back from, say, 82 or whatnot, but we can, establish, that resolution to, stop imposing that fee on our
I
taxpayers.
think we should table it and look
Well-
into what we have in the past and see what is going on in the rest of the county. I think it's a good nudge to people. I've been here 12 years. It's a good nudge to people that the 14th, after the 14th, you only got till the end of the month. March 1st, everything goes to heart. Gives you a little nudge to make sure you get it in gear to get it paid ahead of that. We do have stuff in place with our board of review for poverty, for people that have had that, and I don't know how many of those you have coming up this year yet, but, we do offer that for a good sum of people. So I would say table it until we can look into it further.
Well, we can't do it until the 2024 taxes anyways.
We could, yeah, you're right. We can't establish it till 2024 taxes anyway. So we can, table it and come back to it. But if we're looking at what the rest of the county does, we should be imposing the 1% admin fee.
So
And
that's
we
just
have,
defeating the whole purpose then.
but that's what I'm saying, is that we
If
have,
you do the admin fee, we're charging everyone that much.
but that's what I'm saying, is that the logic of going based on what the other townships do
Well, we wouldn't want to do that, would we?
is, they all charge the admin fee. Mary Lou is kind of still mad at me because we don't charge the admin fee. So she is constantly harping on me to get that charged, which I also disagree with. I don't want to charge our residents that because I think taxes are outrageous to begin
I don't think
with,
we need
so.
it. We don't
Well,
need
and
that.
that fee just goes for mailings and that, doesn't it?
I believe it can pay, part of treasurer's wages, but I can't
I
remember
don't
for
think it,
sure.
I don't
I
think
say it
so.
needs to be looked in further before we make a decision.
But again, I don't want to impose that 1% fee. It's just, I want to take the penalty away. But we can table it for next month. I just wanted to bring that to your attention.
Put it on next month's agenda and we'll look into it between now and then. And also I seen that, MTA, somebody had asked about, accepting payments. Did you say that?
Accepting payments
For taxes?
We've always accepted payments. People paying against their taxes before they're due. You take partial payments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I take
We've
partial.
always done that.
do we
We've
have a
always worked
resolution?
with people.
Okay.
We've always worked with
Yeah,
people that,
Okay.
Tammy
I
always.
take cash
works with
payments, I take partial payments, I
Yeah.
take,
So if they came in once a month?
Mhm,
Yes,
pay a little bit
absolutely.
Yes, yes, you can
Yeah,
make payments.
yeah, I've got a couple,
You've got some that do it every time.
yeah, I've got a couple, that send me, they've got multiple parcels, and he'll send me about a third of the parcel, of each of his parcels, versus paying off one in full and then paying off another in full.
Yeah.
He'll send me about 3 different payments for each of his parcels.
Yeah, we've always done that.
Yeah, no, we always do that.
Next on our list is brining. We have a packet there from Mark Timmer, and it gives a estimate. We had agreed on doing 2 brinings through Michigan Chloride, which is who we've gone through the last couple of years. On the second page, it shows the cost. And if you see, that's for 30 miles. Newfield only has 20.79 miles. So where you see the cost of $16,875, that's not ours. I have it figured at $11,694.70.
Say that one more time.
Hold it, yeah, $11,694.37
For one.
for one. So, so the total would be $23,388.75, which is right about what they've had us for the last
Yeah,
couple of years, so,
that's a little cheaper, actually.
yeah.
I think it was
Okay, so 2
13
brinings,
last
that's
year.
sufficient.
2 brine, well, John,
John, is 2 grinding sufficient?
You live on a dirt road?
Yeah, they done good last year.
That last one too long, space before we get it.
Yeah, Brenda
That
does.
last one is long spacing before we get it, see.
You had a long ways in between grindings?
Yeah,
Well, they usually do it around Memorial Day and then Labor Day.
they done them 2 right in a row, remember?
Well, I think they came back with something
Was
didn't.
it rain?
Yeah, it rained and they came
Yeah.
back. up
If it rained, they had to come back and do a little bit, but, yeah. And usually we get ours in pretty quickly, so we're usually at the top of the list, so. So I wanted to share that with everybody, so I'll sign this and get it sent in to them.
Do you wanna make a motion?
I was gonna say, yeah, gotta make a motion, so, we wanted the 2 grindings, I'll make a motion to go with Michigan chloride sales for the 2 grindings for the 2024 season.
Okay, motion by Hunter, supported by Clark to go with the 2 grindings through Michigan chloride. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried 5-0. Reports, MTA. Our next meeting will be the end of March. God, I can't even think, March 27th, 29th.
You're not doing February?
Huh?
You're not doing one at the end of February?
No.
Oh, okay.
We do them every other month.
Oh, that's right.
And it'll be, it's to be hosted in Lovett Township, but because they don't have the room and they don't have facilities there, we're gonna be at the Walkerville Wesleyan Church in Walkerville. It starts at 6 o'clock. Planning Commission. Michael's not here. Wade, do you have anything? Or
Discuss what was brought to us on the resolutions to look at for the master plan. We got hard copies to mark up and get handed in by this Thursday. And then Michael was going to get it back to him and then to go ahead and make any corrections.
Okay. And Jeff was here for master plan. Did you have something to say about it?
Yeah, no, the other thing along with that was that, they also, Jeff was requesting, there's, I'm trying to think, Wayne, you remember the term, right term for,
The GIS?
that they wanted, mapping data so that they could map out the township for land use. And, the issue was that, equalization they wanted extra payment, they wanted $650 to provide that data to them.
Okay, so as far as the GIS that Mr. Micklin's talking about is, our GIS went from 12 inches to 6 inches, so the clarity is better. It gets updated on a daily basis. They redo this every 4 years. A lot of places, townships weren't happy about how it went about. They did it before they asked for money instead of asking for the money first. But every time there's a change in a parcel, so if somebody splits your property or whatnot, then it goes to our assessor, then our assessor calls Ed, and Ed calls the next person, and within hours, it's changed on the GIS. Like I said, it's updated every day. Excuse me. What Jeff wants is, he wants, now what do I want to say?
The layered data.
The layered. And so to do the layered aerial, it's an extra $650 that we would have to pay in order for them to give it to Jeff, for Jeff to put it in to our master plan. Ed said most townships don't do this, but, which I think it would be great to have, but at the same time, if it's getting updated every day and parcels are gonna be split and all that, how
Well, I was thinking.
how
about
accurate,
that.
I mean, you pay $650.
Yeah, I was thinking about that when I talked to Wayne about it. And the reality is, we get about 4 splits a year. You know, we don't.
But
have-
still, once you do one split, then it's not gonna be
Sure.
right in our master
Sure,
plan.
absolutely, absolutely. But it's not going to really, it's not gonna change that much. And yeah, it's gonna change over time. Your map is going to be a point in time. That you can't.
So it's not something from Ed that needs to be changed, other than Jeff has asked for the extra. The 1,500 is sufficient for the 12 to 6, that like we were first told.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're all set with that.
Yeah.
It's not
that's
something
how
he
it is.
snuck into.
Yeah. no,
Okay.
no.
When you go online to the GIS,
Yeah.
it's every day, when you go on it, it's up to date.
Well, and I knew the 1,500 was that was a big step, and we wanted it for our assessor and for Jeff to use, but I really can't see this layered thing if it's just for the master plan. I mean,
So, sorry, I've got a few questions about
Okay.
that. So the GIS is not layered. So meaning you can't look through the trees and whatnot, because usually, at least when I worked at the county, you could turn off certain layers and turn off the
Right,
trees
right.
layer you could see underneath. So the one that we just purchased from Ed does not have that capability?
It just has all the property lines, and every time a property line gets changed, then it gets changed on that.
Okay, so,
I mean, you can see the line
You
through
can
the
see
tree,
the
over the
lines.
top of the
Yeah,
trees,
yeah, but you can't see down in.
in.
But to pay that much just for,
it wouldn't necessarily be worth it for that, but at the same time, for zoning and stuff, it would be kind of, now, this is another question, when it's updated every day, you're not talking the pictures are updated every day.
The lines.
the lines.
The lines
The
are
lines are
updated every day,
updated.
so the pictures would not change
No,
Right.
for
and-
zoning purposes.
And again, our lines are
Don't
not changing every
change
day.
very
You know,
often.
they might change once every couple of months because we don't get that many splits.
Mhm.
well, so far.
Yeah. not-
But
well,
let's just say, even if we got, 10 a year, we've got 2,000 parcels plus, because that's just 2,000 taxable parcels. 10 is not going to adjust it enough to make it worth the price.
Right,
Right.
and probably the areas that are the most problematic, like and most dense, like around the lakes, around the river, those aren't gonna change because they can't be split.
Right.
You know, they're not conforming as it is, you
Right.
know, I mean, just thinking, you have one, coming up on, Campbell, but that's like a 6 or 7 acre parcel.
We don't
But
have
there's
that.
how many, there's what, 1 or 2 of those on Campbell? We have one on McLaren, there again, what do we have maybe half a dozen lots on Campbell, not Campbell,
McLaren,
McLaren, that are large enough to be split. Well, most of them are.
Yeah. and like you say,
You know,
that's,
so I don't think there's that much change happening, but the thing about the layers is that while you're looking at land use, you're looking at, by doing the layers, you can look at how is that land being used in that area, in this area? What's the predominance of pole barns or, that sort of thing.
I just don't see it. I don't see it. That's my opinion. I don't, see adding $650 to that for the master plan.
Was there any sort of recommendation from the planning commission on that?
We just got
No,
it.
it was just, Jeff just came up with it this morning,
Oh, okay.
so nobody had time to act on it other than,
Right.
I got
Yeah,
the information on
Get a
it, but.
response. It took them this long
To get a response.
response.
From Ed.
Yeah.
Well, in that case, it took him months to get a response from Ed. How long is it gonna take when we pay this fee to get the actual file?
I don't know, because I called Ed and he answered on the second ring, so I guess maybe he was on vacation when Jeff was trying to get hold of him.
He's always on vacation, I didn't say that.
So I guess we can, I know that Jeff is waiting to hear an answer, but we can't just give an answer without checking on it more. So I guess we can put it on for the March meeting.
Yeah,
Find out what else we can find out about it.
Yeah. Okay, Rick, do you have anything?
I just got one meeting scheduled with, out here on 20.
Okay.
I go to just do an inspection of the new barn, see what the progress is, make sure everything's up to order on that.
All right, thank you.
I got a question. Do they have that wired?
That's what I'm going to find. I know power's been run.
So there's no marijuana drying or nothing?
No, last time I was there, last month, they were actually in the process of getting all the consumers was there and things last.
It was lit up.
have they gotten their new fence up and around yet?
No, there's
Okay.
no, that's
Not
another
for the
thing that
winter.
I'm gonna address, but I got a meeting to see what's going on in the building
So what,
itself.
so what
I will
are they
address
doing?
that.
What are they doing north of us? I see workers every day going.
They're just up there getting ready to start their, growing process.
They're not sorting or,
No, that's all that's all done.
oh,
Everything's all processed and everything. Now they're starting to get the buildings ready to go for the next crop.
But they've all pretty much changed to, for the most part, to clones. So what they do is they maintain a small number of plants over the winter. And then those plants, they take the cuttings to make the clones. So right around, February, they start to make those cuts.
yeah,
Clones out
there's probably 5, 6 cars that go every day. It's a small crew, but.
Yep, and then that'll expand as they start getting the clones going, and then they obviously take.
That's what I figured this, end of this month, I was gonna start making the rounds again, seeing where they're at.
Okay, thank you. And Mr. Erickson, I apologize, but for some reason, it says county commissioner on there, and it must have, I think what I did is I cut pasted an old one, but do you have anything that you want to share?
Yeah, I saw my name, Paul Erickson. When I drove in, I want to say thank you and how wonderful your recycling looks. It just looks great.
Thank you.
And other townships are looking at it as a model too, so, well, that really looks good. And,
Thank you.
and with Mike and the village, we were finally able to get a police agreement put together with the village, so we've got police coverage, county sheriff coverage in the village. We'll be revisiting our council on aging millage request again. It was a 1 mil request, but we did not act upon it because it would have been the only item on the ballot and the cost of having that election. So we'll be revisiting that again and have that on another ballot with other items. So that will take care of it. And one of the things that came up in that discussion is the Oceana County Council on Aging is not a governmental unit. It's a standalone unit apart from our county government. So this 1 bill that had been requested was for our seniors, and the money's only to be used for our senior population. But there are other entities in the county that might also benefit from those dollars. So there's been a few conversations on having more representation on the east side, and that was where I came in with this, is after the deep dive we did with the Community Foundation in Walkerville. One of the major concerns was our seniors and how we deliver services to shut-ins and Meals on Wheels and all the things that are a little easier on the west side of the county because you're closer to the Council on Aging building and the services are right there. So one of the things that I had brought up and I would like to see is for us to be more inclusive with this eastern tier of townships in regards to our senior dollars. When we put that millage on the ballot, then I think we'll have a little better resolution as to how those dollars may be spent going forward. Medical care, we've talked about that now for a few years. We still have a wing that's not licensed. We're running around 100 beds. We're still losing a little bit of money, $90,000, $100,000 a month. Our staffing has come up. We're having a better time with our nurses, our RNs, our LPNs, our housekeeping. So we're having a better time keeping the staff. The incidence of COVID has dropped off dramatically, so there's not as many COVID detections. And typically, they come to the medical care through housekeeping or dietary. That's what we find, that we've got something, but that has been much, much easier to navigate. Our jail, we're still running about capacity in the jail, 55, 58 prisoners. And as I said before, they're all felons. We don't have any misdemeanors in our jail. Our jail is full of felons, so I do believe we still have 7,800 warrants yet unserved in the county. So, but we don't have any place to keep people if we were to arrest them and arraign them. So we still have a real problem right now with warrants and the jail population. So I'm sure we'll revisit a new or another county jail sometime in the future, so that we'll have more room so that we can take care of these problem people. Our ambulance, in our report last month, we were also told that the ground will be broken out on 20 soon to get an ambulance satellite in place in Newfield. So that's a positive. They purchased the land. Hopefully they'll be building that satellite facility. Staffing on our ambulances, we've been able to keep 3 buses out on the roads now. We're not having trouble having paramedics available to man and keep buses going. So the ambulance situation is getting better. It's much better than it had been for the last couple of years. Couple other points we've got. This year at the fair, we were for 3 days of harness racing, which was a real plus at the county fair. We won't have a carnival this year. We're going to just have a normal fair as always, but in light of the labor troubles that the fair and carnival industry has, they pretty much run on H-2B workers. It's hard to find people that want to join the circus and travel and do some of the fair. It's just not happening anymore. So right now there's a big shortage in the industry of H-2B visas that are being permitted. It's a lottery you've got to draw from. And in the state of Michigan right now, about half of our fair and carnival companies are having trouble right now having the labor available to go out on the road. So it's a very serious issue in the carnival industry staffing, as well as, our asparagus industry and all of our hand crops. We've really got a shortage of hand labor in the fields, and this will be devastating if we can't get a grip on this and get our markets back. But the cost of hand labor in the field right now is making all of our commodities much, much more expensive at the grocery shelf when we can have foreign imports come in and take that shelf space. So that's really been a big problem. Another thing in Mears, the Oceana County Historical and Genealogical Society's new barn is just about built. If you drive through Mears, you'll see a beautiful brand new red barn that we're building for an agricultural display. And our little echo is in the Old Town Hall, downtown Mears. We're going to be 58 issues old this Friday. And when we get to 38 issues old, when we get to 52 issues, 1 year old, then hopefully we'll be able to put all of our governmental notices in the paper. You've got to be a year old before they're considered that. So hold your breath. If we can hold our breath and we get to 52, maybe we'll be there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Dennis, anything else on here?
I had three burials for the month, weather permitting, obviously. And then we had 5 resident pot sales. And one thing I want to mention to the board, some of the roads up there, they're in desperate need of new gravel. Maybe sometime we could look at that and maybe get a couple of them, because Al Sang came out there with this road bit one time and ground down in the center. Some of them cars, they're dragging the center. So,
Could Mike Mayo do that for us? Could he bring us in some gravel and Brenda?
Just saw that check, it's summer, when it rains, a couple spots there, there's a lot of ponding there. So it needs some new gravel and some stuff.
We can get a hold of a couple of companies and
Just some
Yes.
estimates.
get a couple of estimates and see.
If you would do that, that would be great before spring.
Okay.
Thank
That
you.
Okay, zoning?
Okay. Yeah, we had one permit last month. We've already had one this month. And the one this month was for a new house here on, over by Landlear. So that's kind of cool. And 6 people inquiring about moving into the township. So, in fact, a couple of them, again, they're indicating they're gonna be building. So I expect we're gonna get about 4 or 5 new houses this year at least. It's kind of encouraging. In terms of violations, obviously we've been held up on that, but now we passed our ordinance. We'll put notice in the paper and we can move forward on some of those. Lastly, 2 weeks ago, I attended a video conference with the CRA, the Cannabis Regulatory Agency, to go over changes in some of their rules, and what they're doing, social equity things. There's some real interesting things. One of the things that can be done with the cannabis money is social equity programs, which I think was in the letter from Attorney John Peterson when we had a second opinion on use of funds, which means that the township can do some things for the residents, direct to the residents with some of those funds, in addition to obviously the roads benefit and having enhanced fire equipment, having enhanced police equipment helps the residents too. So I think that's something Rick and I are gonna talk about and maybe even propose something going forward. So I also got a contact out of that. There is a Michigan Cannabis Industry Association, and they have a lot of resources for municipalities as well as for people in the industry. And one of the difficulties is the CRA has not been, what's the word I'm looking for? Super supportive of getting clarification or information. They're supposed to be doing better. They're supposed to have their municipal manual updated, and that should be online next month. So I'm hoping to get that, and hopefully we'll get some more insights from there.
Okay, thank you. Roads, I don't have anything to report on roads right now. I mean, we just did the brining and I haven't received any of the estimates for the roads that were turned in. So when I get those, I'll present them. Next is public comments. Does anybody have any public comments? Okay, go ahead, state your name.
My name is Micah. I live on 204th Avenue. I'm going to comment on the ordinance that was just passed, the blight junk vehicle ordinance. Fourth Amendment of the Federal Constitution of the United States of America. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated. And no warrants shall issue but upon probable cause supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. Township Board of Newfield, when you were elected to public office, you swore an oath to uphold and protect the Constitution of the United States of America, the state of Michigan. you are in violation of your oath. It is in the pen. Good job.
Any other public comments?
Yes.
State your name.
Jim Draper again. So I'd like to comment on the lawsuit that we just had in Oceana County, on the actions, on the legality of your actions regarding the expansion of the marijuana establishment on M20. I know that there was a lot of people that had serious questions as to whether that was legal or not. People on the board wanted to see what the judge had to say. People on the planning commission wanted to see what the judge had to say. However, you guys, through your attorney, you just fought to get it dismissed based on just technicalities, procedural technicalities. So I followed the judge's advice. I consulted with an attorney afterwards. The judge told me in the hearing, talk to an attorney and get it done that way. That way you won't have these issues. So now it appears that a much larger, much more encompassing lawsuit may be on the horizon. With all the state law violations, ordinance violations, the fact that the M20 facility still hasn't corrected the current ordinance violation they had, that's still open. The way the marijuana money was spent with no actual enforcement of the ordinance, which is what the marijuana money is for, it's a mess. And I don't want to hear about how this is Draper, his problem. If you guys were following the rules, it wouldn't happen. So when it comes to how much this is costing the township, that's on you, that's not on me. Also, I would like to say, as far as your township newsletters, you guys endorse pot like this is the best thing since sliced bread. We see all the stuff in the newsletters and even Midland's comments now about how great all this marijuana money is. Endorsing drug use in the community, that's horrible. I mean, all the time you hear about people overdosing, suicides, families getting ripped apart, domestic violence. It's like, you guys are actually promoting that. That's on you. You know those Joe Biden stickers you see on the gas pump, he's pointing at the price and it says, I did that. You know, those stickers could be you looking at these headlines. You did that. That's on you.
Any other public comments? State your name.
Dennis David, 6163 East Oak Road. And I was also at that hearing there, or the court. And the judge gave Mr. Draper second chance. He didn't even file the paper right. He's trying to be a lawyer. And where was he 2018 when you guys were deciding on what to do here? 2 years later, after all this money spent, and it's legal in the state of Michigan, what happened to the parent that just says no? He thinks that the drugs are available to everybody, alcohol, everything. You just gotta say no. And I am proud of this board and the zoning administrator, the planning commission. He sent a nasty email to Michael about these guys on the board. They can't they're not smart enough basically to make their own decision. Well, he's trying to play a lawyer, and he cost the taxpayers all this money for these ridiculous accusations and that. There's nothing wrong. The planning commission recommended the special use permit. We do everything right here, and most people are proud of what you guys do. So, that's all I gotta say.
Any other public comments?
Mike Barber, Newfield resident. I'd just like to thank the whole board for everything you do. We appreciate all your hard work, everyone puts in. Even John and Amanda, who's got your convictions, that's fine. Just like to thank everyone. Let you know the village residents appreciate it. For the township.
Thank you. Any other public comments? Okay, next is board discussion.
Oh, we had at one time, with the board, had, someone out in the public at a couple different times has asked how much has been spent in legal fees, towards the lawsuits that we have paid out. and, legal fees for all of the cannabis. In the fiscal year 2022, the board spent over $32,000 on legal fees related to cannabis, the cannabis industry and the lawsuits. In the fiscal year 2023, we're at about almost $14,000. And that does not include the lawsuit where we were sued for an amount. And so that went to our liability insurance company. And I just got something back from him. They spent over $5,700 on that particular lawsuit that we did not have to pay. It was paid by our liability insurance because we were sued for an amount. So that answers the question for the board. And for the two or three times it was asked, I did do some research on that and came up with that.
Also, board review will be, meeting March 3rd from 3 to 9, and March 13th from 9 to 3 here at the hall. Anybody have anything?
March 13th from what time, sorry?
March 11th, 3 to 9, March 13th, 9 to 3.
March 11th, okay, sorry, I
Yep.
thought you said March 3rd.
No, March 11th, 3 to 9, March 13th, 9 to 3.
We also have early voting that is taking place in Oceana County right now. It started last Saturday. Our townships in the county, the clerks all agreed to go with a one-spot voting for this first time for the 9 days. And so that started at the courthouse. It is from 8 o'clock in the morning until 4 o'clock in the afternoon. The straight 9 days. It started last Saturday. It'll end this Sunday at the courthouse. And then I am available here at the Township Hall also on Saturday for any last minute absentee ballots that people want to pick up or here. I chose my dates for the state and time, and I'll be here all day Saturday from 8 in the morning till 4 in the afternoon. I'll be here again on Monday, which is not required by the state, but I will be here. And then Tuesday is our actual election, so we'll be having the regular election on Tuesday here. And that starts at 7 o'clock in the morning and goes until 8 o'clock at night. So we had an in-service. Amanda provided a good in-service for our workers. And I think we're pretty much set for the election. So any questions on that, don't hesitate to call.
If there's nothing else, I'd like a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Support.
Motion by Robertson, supported by Clark to adjourn at 8:08. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried, 5-0.
Thank you.